Namaste, pranams to you all. Welcome to our Gita discussion. Let us continue with our journey. So let us start with a prayer for Sage Vyasa and Lord Krishna. Please let us close our eyes. And connect ourselves with divinity through the breath. And open our hearts and minds to understand and to apply in our lives. Namostute Vyasa Vishalabhute Pularavinda Yatapatra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapana Parijataya Totrave Praikapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Chitamruttadohe Namaha. Salutations to Sage Vyasa, with deep and profound intellect, who lit the lamp of knowledge with the oil of Mahabharata. Prostrations to Krishna, the Parijata, the wishing fulfilling tree for the ones who take shelter in him, holding a cane in one hand and you're doing the symbol of knowledge with the other hand. He is the milker of the divine nectar of the Bhagavad Gita. Om Tat Sat. Yesterday, we are discussing the 7th chapter. Today, we are going to start the 8th and try to understand briefly the contents. Atthashtamo dhyayaha. Now we are starting the 8th chapter. This chapter is called Akshara Brahma Yoga, the yoga of imperishable Brahman. This chapter has 28 verses. The first two verses are the questions of Arjuna related to the previous chapter. And the rest of it, 26 verses, are the answer of Lord Krishna to Arjuna. On the last two verses of the chapter 7, Lord Krishna finished with a few new expressions. So he mentioned about Brahman, he mentioned about Adhyatma, he mentions about Karma, he mentions about Adibhuta, Adidhaiva, and Adhyagya. And he says the ones who perceive the integration of all this as a presence of the Lord at the moment of death will be connected and united. So Lord Krishna was just instigating Arjuna to know more, to go deeper. So in the beginning of the 8th chapter, Arjuna asked these questions. Oh Lord, what does it mean? What is Brahman? What is Adhyatma? What is Karma? What is Adibhuta? What is Adidaiva? And where is the place of Adhyagya in this body? We'll just understand these words because there's connection with the previous chapter and with what we are going to discuss in the coming verses and chapters. First, he replies, Brahman, Lord Krishna starts replies from verse 3 onwards. He says, Brahman is the supreme imperishable being. And In your body, Arjuna, he lives in Kutastha. This is the place of Akshara Brahma Paramam, the supreme imperishable. Then he says Adhyatma. Adhyatma, Adi significa center, and Atma means soul. So, what is centered into the soul? So, from the imperishable one, the next is the soul, but now with the intellect, mind. So, the soul connected with the intellect, mind, and ego. So, Guruji defines Adhyatma as the intellect resting in the soul. The first one, the Brahman, there is no intellect, it's just God absolute. Adhyatma means the intellect pure resting on the soul. That means the intellect perceiving the qualities of the soul. There is some duality now. Then he goes further, explaining what is karma. Karma, as per Lord Krishna and the interpretation of some masters, karma is what makes you receive a body and what makes you to lose a body, and whatever happens in between, you're gaining a body and you're losing a body, that means birth and death. Whatever you do in between these two dots, visarga, is also karma. It's very large concept, but if you think whatever you do, it's karma. We got this body because of karma, and we leave this body because of certain karma. Then he goes explaining what is adibhuta, what is centered on the beings. Bhuta means beings or elements. So he's saying, Lord Krishna, that this expression adibhuta, it's whatever we see in the whole creation, like objects, persons, bodies. But he's saying, centering this body and these elements, I am. I am the creator of those, and I exist in the creation. So Adibhuta is connected also with the presence of God. Even when you look at the matter in the world and for yourself, to your body, you have to remember God. Then he explains what is Adidaiva. What is centered into the divinity or into deities? In our bodies, we have deities in every part of the body and in every sense organ. And these deities are nothing but some specialized power of God. So our function to move our hands and to manipulate things, it's some special power of God, and it's called Indra. And the anus, it's called Yama. The feet, it's called Vishnu, and so on. So what Lord Krishna is saying, even when you think about deities in your body, in your senses, or when you are worshipping any deity, remember, it's also me. I am behind all the deities in your body and externally also. And then he asks the other question and the other answer of the Lord. What is adhyagya? And what is this in our body? So adhyagya, yagya means ceremony, means sacrifice. You offer something on the fire, let us say, to receive something. So Guruji says that we can understand this yagya in us as our breath. We are receiving, when we're exhaling, we are offering. So Lord Krishna is saying, I am the breath in your body. So I am in the whole body, because we have gross breath, subtle breath, and causal breath. So everywhere we have this breath, and this breath is nothing but the presence of the Lord. So the 6 first questions of Arjuna were answered by the Lord. And what is the connection I told you we have with the previous chapter? On the chapter 7, Lord Krishna taught Arjuna how to train and how to try to perceive God externally. So he gave the examples, if you remember. I am the fragrance of the earth. I am the brightness of the moon. I am the light of the sun. I am the strength of the strong. I am the intelligence of the intelligent. I am the desire in the men and women, and so on. So he taught Arjuna how to perceive God in the creation. And this beginning of the chapter 8, he completes these teachings, showing Arjuna how to perceive Lord inside himself. When you are meditating and perceiving the qualities of the soul, it's me. When you are doing any karma, it's me. When you are looking at your body and dealing with the matter, the creation, remember me. When you are doing any kind of worshipping, or when you are moving your body or using your senses, remember it's my power. And when you are breathing, don't forget, because it's me also. So he gave Arjuna the completely possibilities to remember him. And then after these explanations, he goes to the last, and for this chapter, the most important answer is the seventh answer of the Lord regarding to the seventh question of Arjuna. And Arjuna asks, "Oh Lord, how does a person comes to you or knows you at the time of departure?" And then Lord Krishna is going to answer. This chapter, it speaks mainly about how to die. Some of you may say, "Oh, let's skip this chapter." Then it's beautifully explained how one should be ready to die to reach the Lord. So Lord Krishna says, Arjuna, for you to come to me at the time of death, you have to think of me. Your last thought will guide you for the next moment, for the coming sequence. So think of me at the time of death and you will come to me. Very easy, looks like, no? But then he complements. But you can only think your last thought at the moment of the death, the thinking or the thoughts you train your whole life, that you use most of time. So if you don't think of God during your life, you train your mind to think of God. You can never think of God when you are dying. So it's not so easy. So Lord Krishna says, because of that, Arjuna, you have to do one thing. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmaram yujatcha. He's saying, you have to remember me all the times and fight. So, two things. Remember me all the times. This is one of the most beautiful expressions of the Lord in Bhagavad Gita. Remember me all the times. And he taught us how to remember him previously. How to look at the world and then remember him. And then how to look inside in every function and remember him. And then, so, okay, remember me all the times, it's okay. But then the next point, what does it mean fight? You fight, Arjuna. Remember me and fight. Let us understand a little bit this meaning of fight in this chapter. So he goes a little bit further, saying, fight means you have to practice constantly. He mentions another expression very beautifully, abhyasa yoga, the yoga of practice. You cannot be successfully in your fight, in your struggle, if you do not practice. So, constantly practice here means fight. So, what to practice? How does have to be our fight for the Lord? And then he continues. He says, what is our practice? So he describes, all the doors of your body are closed. Your mind is full engaged in the soul, concentrate in the soul. Your life energy is directed to your cranium. With calm mind, you are perceiving the Om sound. And thinking of me, you will reach me. So I think this should be a little bit familiar to all of us. He's describing meditation. This is our fight. All the doors are closed. Our attention is on the soul. Our life force is on the cranium or in the top of head. And then perceiving the Om sound. With this attitude, we will reach the Lord. But he's saying here at the time of death, he explained Arjuna how to die. So just think a little bit. In our daily meditation, Guruji says that we are just preparing for the moment of death. The moment of death, Guruji says, is exactly our meditation, introverting the senses, closing the doors, and concentrate within. So he says, if we practice and practice and practice, when the moment of departure comes, we are ready. We are ready to go to the Lord. So this is our fight. Guruji gave another beautiful expression. He says, life is nothing but preparation for the moment of death. We live just to be ready to die. And then he says, once Lord Yama came to one person to take him. So he came with one ticket, one way for this person and say, my friend, hello, it's time for you to come. Let's go. And then this person says, what? You didn't even let me know before. I could not prepare myself. How can you come surprisingly like this? And then Lord Yama just smile and say, my child, how can you say something like that? I gave you one gray hair. What did you do? You color it. Then I gave you some wrinkles on the face. What did you do? You stretch it. Then I made you lose one teeth. What did you do? You put another fake one. So all the time I was telling you, the moment is coming, be ready, but you never pay attention. Now there is no second chance. Let us go. So Baba says that an yogi and Kriyavan should be ready all the time to go, because we know when the moment we came, but no one of us knows the moment that we have to go. So we have to be ready all the time. Arjuna, remember me all the times and fight. Fight means practice, practice and practice what we know, what we learn. So then Lord Krishna continues, and then he says, there is these two possibilities. The ones who fight and get connected with me. These persons who practice and can be able to think of the Lord at the moment of the death, they go where? They go directly to God. And they stay there forever, for eternity. There is no return. They don't have any rebirth. They are immersed in this divine bliss forever. This is one option he gives. And then he starts to describe the ones who does not this action at the moment of the death. The ones who cannot think of the Lord. The ones who did not prepare themselves for this moment. What happens? They have to return. And then you may think, but what is so bad to return here to this world? As per Guruji, in this world we have 1% happiness and 99% misery in the life. We don't realize this. And then Lord Krishna also gives a beautiful word for defining this world. He says, this world is Dukkha Layam. And what does it mean this? The abode of suffering and misery. So he's saying you have one option. Come to me, you'll be immersed in divine bliss and love forever. Or you can come again and again where? To the Dukkha Lion, the abode of suffering and misery. Is our option. What should we choose? And not only that, he further explains this person who has to come and come. How many times the person who doesn't remember God has to come back and come back? He says, one day and one night of Brahman. Looks very little, no? I was just out of curiosity searching how many years in our plane this one day and one night of Brahma means. And it's only 84.6 billions of years in our world. So, can you imagine? 86 billions of years coming and going to where? To the abode of sorrow and suffering. I don't think it's such a good idea to dwell on this second option. So then he explains a little bit further this dissolution and creation. Dissolution and creations all the time happening, and these beings who did not get liberated because of this fighting, they have to come. So some people say meditate is hard, to pray, to discipline life is not so easy, it's not for me. But think how many years, billions of years of suffering. Is it not worthy for us one life of little bit of struggle for our eternal peace, bliss, and joy? Just for us to think a little bit. It's a very beautiful. And then the Lord Krishna, little bit further in this chapter, he says about two options. There are two eternal paths in this world. One path is called the northern path, the brilliant path, the path of the sun, the path of the fire, is the upward path. And it says, the ones who follow this path, they are not reborn. They don't have to come back again. And then he describes the second path. It calls the lunar path, the path of the smoke, the path of the south, downwards, and the path of the darkness. And the ones who follow this path, they have to come back again. And remember, these two paths, as per Lord Krishna, are eternal. They always exist. And then we may just think how the person goes to this upward and how the person goes to this downward path. And just one thing, downward path, this Krishna path, Krishna Marga, doesn't mean necessarily one person who is doing bad actions only or doesn't think of God. But it says, some commentators of Gita say, even if a person do a lot of charity, tries to be a good person, help others, live in peace in the world, even though this person is following the south path, the downward journey, and have to come back again and again. And which one is the upward path, directs towards north, the path of the sun and the fire? Is the path of God. It's the path when your mind is completely focused on the divine. So there are 2 points, 2 topics that we can analyze our lives and see whether we are going up or we are going down. First, are we following what Lord Krishna says about remember me all the times and fighting or not? How do we remember God outside and inside? Yes or no? And Are we trying to meditate as the masters tell us to do? Are we trying to discipline our lives and to perceive this divinity? This is the first aspect that tells which direction we are going. And the second aspect is, what is the highest priority in your life? Just think. You don't have to answer now, but just think. What is your higher priority in life? The only way for us to go in the upward journey, if God is the first and the utmost and higher priority in our lives. And doesn't mean that we have to give up the rest of things. We don't have to renounce the world or don't do the other things. But what you consider the most important thing in your life. We only can go upwards for this path that there is no return. It's just the immersion of divine bliss when God is really the first and priority in our lives. And then speaking about this, I just remember one expression, one beautiful quoting of Jesus in the Bible. First, you seek the kingdom of heaven, and then all the other things will be added unto you. So we have to try. We have to fight. We have to remember God. We have to use this life to be connected and to be the last life. To the last life and the abode of Dukkhalaya, sorrow and misery. This is our duty. This is our fortune. This is our treasure in life. We have to use as best as we can. Let us remember these verses. Let's remember these teachings of Lord Krishna now. He's waiting for us for the place of peace and love. There is one beautiful book that Guruji translated, and it was written by Sri Vijay Krishna Chattopadhyaya, and it's called Ritambara. In this book, Sri Vijay Krishna described it so beautifully how we should look externally and internally and perceive and remember God. It's very practical and it's very beautiful. If you have time, you can just read a little bit. It's very inspiring, and it's related to this topic that Krishna is telling about how to die. Let us be prepared from now onwards. Why to wait more? We never know when will be our last breath. We have to be ready. Right? Let us close our eyes, please. Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishads Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Akshara Brahma Yoga Namashtadasho Dhyayaha. So then here we close the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, called the Imperishable Akshara Brahman. Keep watching your breath. Don't forget. We have to be sincere in our practice, in our efforts. Theory only is not enough. It's just the first step. We have to move forward. We have one lineage of realized masters. We have one beautiful and extremely efficient path. We have to increase our desire, our discipline. We have to reach our goal this life, just now. We are going to chant one hymn now. If possible, just keep watching your breath. Try to use every moment to go on our upward journey. Ananta samsara samudratara naukaridadyam gurubhaktidadyam vairagya samrajada pujanabhyam namo namasri gurupadukabhyam namo namasri gurupadukabhyam namo namasri gurupadukabhyam Kavitavarasimishakarabyam Dautgadyadavam Buddhamalikabhyam Durikrutanram Radipatikabyam Namo Namasri Gurupadukabhyam Namo Namasri Gurupadukabhyam Namo Namasri Gurupadukabhyam Nataya Yosri Patitam Samiyo Kadachidapya Sudaritravaryaha Mukascha vachas patitam hitavyam Namo Namastri Gurupadukatyam Namo Namastri Gurupadukatyam Namo Namastri Gurupadukatyam Nali Kanika Sapada Hutavyam Nana Vimoha Dinivarikatyam Nama Janabishtakati Pradadyam Namo Namasri Gurupadukatyam Namo Namasri Gurupadukatyam Namo Namasri Gurupadukatyam Nupali Mauli Vrajaratna Kanti Sari Viraja Jashakanyakadhyam Nrupatvadadyam Nataloka Pankte Namo Namashri Gurupadukatyam Namo Namashri Gurupadukatyam Namo Namashri Gurupadukatyam Papandakarar kaparam parabhyam Tapatraya Hindrakadeshwaradhyam Jatyabisamshoshanapadavadyam Namo Namashri Gurupadukatyam Namo Namashri Gurupadukatyam Namo Namashri Gurupadukatyam Shamaji Shakta Pradavai Bhavadhyam Samadhidana Vrataji Shatabyam Ramadavandristirabhaktidadyam Namo Namashri Gurupadukatyam Namo Namashri Gurupadukatyam Namo Namashri Gurupadukatyam Swarcha Paranam Mahileshtadadhyam Swaha Sahaya Shadurandarabyam Swanta Chabhava Pradapujanadhyam Namo Namashri Guru Padukatyam Namo Namashri Guru Padukatyam Namo Namashri Guru Padukatyam Kamaji Sarpa Vrajagarudatyam Viveka Vairagyanidhi Pradatyam Bodha Pradatyam Dutamokshadatyam Namo Namashri Guru Padukatyam Namo Namashri Guru Padukatyam Namo Namashri Guru Padukatyam Namo Namashri Guru Padukatyam. In our battle of life, we cannot forget also the love for God, the love for the Gurus. This love is the boat will take us to the shore. Life is a journey, and should not be the journey of suffering and sorrow, but should be the journey of celebration, of joy, of love. We have to do our part. It's to try, it's to practice, it's to remember the Lord, it's to remember the Masters. I'm praying to God and to Gurus to bless our lives with more discipline, with more dedication, with more energy, with more love for the divinity, and trying to perceive the presence of God in all of you. I bow to you all with gratitude. Om Amen. Thank you all for this opportunity, and I hope to see you all next week in our continuation of the journey. Jai Guru.